Welcome back, lords and ladies. I am Rivington Bism III, and it is Deja Vu on the caster desk as I am once again joined by Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler. Pleasure.
Lords and ladies, I like it. We're classing it up now.
Yes, good morrow, sir. We're jumping into our next match of the day as TSM takes the stage versus Flyquest. They will take on each other. And for the first time this split, TSM are in first place after spending most of the season neck and neck with Cloud9.
Yeah, and actually with that loss, they gained a little bit more distance after C9's most recent match. Now, they are also on the hunt, for that first round bye, which also will get a little bit easier. But in order to secure that, the win against Flyquest and Echo Fox tomorrow are going to be very big. Now, there's no doubt that the team has been basically a playoff caliber team for a few weeks now. But the question has been, can they close out these series in a more efficient manner? Because, while TSM are 12-2, 86% win rate for their series, the game record, because they keep dropping, one game in a lot of these series, it's only 65%, 24-13 for them right now. So they do want to work on that. This is always one of those teams that's all about self-improvement, and even in their wins, they have a lot of criticisms of themselves and areas that they want to improve.
I mean, they got the long con going on. More stage time, that's it. They'll just know more, right? So for the first 4 weeks, Flyquest looked like one of our for sure playoff teams, but things have now seemed to spiral since their loss to Cloud9.
These guys had one of the most explosive starts to the season, and especially with all the returning players, it was really kind of a fairy tale. I mean, Moon had a huge comeback into the North American LCS, full of confidence, just carrying back-to-back games.
Kindred,
him and High. Yeah, and then they started using these picks. Like the Kindred, that one definitely flopped a bit. The Shaco has flopped a couple times. And with some of those picks, the majority of them have failed, and they start to slide down the standings. Now, they've actually kind of talked a lot, together, and they kind of want to refocus on the standard parts first. I'm hoping that they still do have, a surprise pick every once in a while.
Of course.
And think about how
to
to
put
put
Lemon
that
in
in.
the bot lane, right?
But they are, refocusing and trying to get back to winning is the most important thing, because since the first half of this split, they've actually dropped off quite a bit.
It seems like they kind of started at a peak position and are finding a slow way down. You find a way back up. Let's get ourselves into the roster rundown to see if they can do that. On the blue side, however, it is TSM. That means it is Hanser in the top lane, Svenskeren in the jungle, Bjergsen controlling the mid lane, Wild Turtle at bot, with Biofrost as his support, and Coach Parth on stage.
And on the red side, it is Flyquest. Up top is Balls in the jungle, Moon, mid, High, bot, Altec, support Lemonation, and Coach Think Card on stage.
I think we'll still continue to get those. Obviously, as I said, Lemon's down there, but we got 7.5 now. We've seen a little bit of love for other champions. Vladimir has flown around in the pools of Fly, and even Balls in the top lanes.
Yeah, and
High,
a new patch is the perfect time for a team like Flyquest to get a little bit more out of surprise picks, right? Because there's a lot of changes going through. People aren't quite as settled. So for this matchup, I do hope that they reach a little bit further. They're not scared away from some of those styles, as they've racked up a decent amount of losses with those, but hope that they actually are able to pull out something here. So game one, though.
Fan service game. Pick everything. Game one, it is going to be probably simple bans here. Malzahar, Graves, expect to see that Rengar Lulu somewhere towards the top of the pick list.
Yeah, Malzahar, super duper common ban, and is, funnily enough, aimed so much at the support role. But to me, especially with the resurgence of Vladimir, it's actually too bad for mid lane Malzahar, because I keep thinking of, counter picks and old counter picks that we used to see versus Vladimir, because he's so strong right now and gives you a really good team fight late game. What else can people use if he continues to be so popular? Malzahar was one of them, right up there with the Anivia and the like, but you never get a chance because the support one is always banned out. Following that up with Karma Ban as well there for TSM, and you can see they are targeting Lemonation, and they're encouraging him to go the, Maokai and Blitzcrank route here, it looks like.
Do it. Still have the Nautilus they could flex down there. It's been a while since we've seen that.
Definitely.
A little bit better in the top lane, though. Last. Picks. No ban coming in. Flyquest.
We'll get confirmation whether that was intentional or not. Regardless, though, what that leaves us with is a wide open mid lane. Camila's been first pick for the top lane for split push for Hanser. They want to set him up to carry. I mean, there's been so many videos, and Hanser himself talking about how he wants to be a leader on this team. He wants to be a carry on this team, and with that comes with calling for more resources. He is set up on Camille. Even after the nerf, she's still one of the champions where if you can get her some money early on, she can become a massive split push threat. She can also chase down kills super well. And then meanwhile, on the other side, as we said, Flyquest maybe a little bit more return to standard here, and they are focusing on more of the standard priority picks for that most teams actually have very high up there.
So the Lulu Rengar, they're quick block into the Vladimir as it comes through. Looks like I would have figured that was Flyquest, but it's TSM's.
Yeah, and as I was talking about, Vladimir, very, very strong team fighting, especially later in the game right now. This proto build that everyone's going with the Ignite in mid lane has been enough to take down pretty much any AD carries as soon as you get to the mid game. Right now, we'll have to wait and see if Bjergsen actually does go Ignite, because you can still go the mobility Vladimir with the Ghost. That was very popular before. Ghost has since then gotten some nerfs, and that's why we saw a little bit more of the offensive summoner spells. Regardless, though, we're well past that now and seeing a couple of the other bans here. Along with Malzahar, Talon was one of the ones that, if he did take Ignite, also could throw some problems Vladimir's way.
I liked himself Talon. Not sure about the rework. Probably still would play it, as Talon lovers are going to stick with him.
Yeah.
And he is very fun to play.
The Anivia still is an option as well.
That's true.
And Hai actually did have a game of Anivia, if I remember correctly. Depends on how confident he does feel being able to take that one up. And they actually, right now, with the Rumble in the top side would be pretty AP heavy if they do that, as well as Lulu down there for support. Maybe a little bit more crowd control would be what Flyquest are looking for to actually round it out. Caitlyn, though, able to add on. That is one of the most common champions there to pair with the Lulu. This ensures your late game. Caitlyn, Lulu scales super well. Also, it's a very strong lane.
See what Hai can throw into the mix here. Quite a powerful team already from Flyquest. Even putting protection on these guys would help, but the Orianna's out. TSM looks now for their AD carry. That's going to be Wild Turtle with the Jhin, so they have the chance to open up from quite far away here with the Gragas Vladimir follow-up.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting what TSM are going for right now, too. They have a lot of versatility, actually. And that's one of the things that Gragas coming back into the meta is definitely something that I like to see, where he is one of the few junglers that can give you a disengage. You can use his ultimate for offensive uses or peeling uses. Just so versatile. He can go for early plays and really opens up different types of team comps. As of right now, as we said, they are still going to go with that Hanser Camille for the split push top, and maybe those early moves from Svenskeren on the Gragas will be directed up in that area.
A difficult lock-in for Hai. You take that match versus Vladimir and you realize your ultimate could be fizzled out very quickly just by a pool. But Syndra's still a good pickup otherwise to make things happen across the map. It's just hard to get that kill onto the Vladimir fan.
Yeah, one of the tricks here for the Syndras, especially into Vladimir's, is using your ultimate super early on. So he's not going to pool it, and then using your stun afterwards with the rest of the orbs that will be lying around. Does pose some more questions. As you transition into the team fight phases, he'll have more targets that he has options for.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, this is it's a very dynamic squad that TSM have drafted with a lot of mobility. And sometimes that can pose a problem to Syndra, as she's a very low mobility mate in the mid lane. Lots of burst, though, and definitely can be explosive, especially since he's got Moon on Rengar, which has been a great combo for these guys, Moon and Hai, especially with these champions.
It does equal a lot of kill pressure. We could see some early level 2 shenanigans towards the mid lane here to throw off Bjergsen on that Vlad. We actually saw it's exactly what they were doing to Piglet previously. I should just say yesterday on Friday when he played Vladimir. Make sure he's down in the early game. You can't really do too much mid to late. Hashtag TSM win, hashtag fly win. As we get into match here for TSM versus Flyquest. TSM, as we said, holding that first place spot right now. 12-2, possible 16-2 here if they can clean up the rest of the season.
Definitely true. They are looking very good as we head into the home stretch. There's some Flyquest fans sitting right next to some TSM fans, it looks like.
It's gonna get rowdy.
Meanwhile,
Hopefully it's as crazy as our previous game was of Cloud9 and Immortals. We are on the Rift.
yes, we are. And as soon as you get onto the Rift, I like to look at options for junglers, Riv.
Well, lay the options out for me, Kobe.
First of all, Vladimir, early on, everybody's very well aware that likes to scale, wants to get more points in the queue. You know, not a lot of kill pressure there. Bjergsen has gone with that Ignite that we were talking about instead of the Ghost that was, you know, kind of outdated. And so he will have that extra kill pressure as you transition later into game for Altec and for the backline members. Also makes mid lane super exciting when both mid laners are taking Ignite. Meanwhile, Elimination as well in the bottom lane, a little bit of kill pressure there. So those are the types of things you look for as a jungler. If I'm Svenskeren, I have a lot of priority towards Hauntzer at the moment. The Camille, you know, you want to get her up to the Trinity Force point, you know, to the Tiamat point where she can gain a lot of wave control. It's one of the only things that she really has to supplement with her item build is getting a little bit more AoE so she can push and then start to roam around. And that always makes you keep in mind, okay, well, I'm facing a Rengar, and Rengar counter ganks can be super scary, especially when paired with a Rumble. Because all of Ball's damage, or most of Ball's damage, will be area of effect. And if TSM extend really far, if Svenskeren goes for an early gank up there, and there is a Rengar waiting in the bush, that's one of the 2v2s that gets turned around super hard. So while you do want to pressure that lane for Hauntzer, you have to be very wary and try and track the enemy Rengar. That's why I look at this one deep ward on the Krugs actually from TSM. It doesn't give them any information because the Rengar is going to the opposite side. What it does let them know is that Moon is not going for one of those super early, some people consider them to be cheesy routes up to the top side to go for one of those super early ganks or get into position for any sort of Camille Rumble action.
Push up from Elimination and Altec just to slow things down on Biofrost and Turtle. We'll have to see how Moon starts things off from the jungle. He has been pretty pivotal, as we said, towards the mid lane. Just look to be some lockdown control from this Lulu and Caitlyn in that bot if they get around them. Be interesting to see how high goes up against Bjergsen here. We haven't seen too many Vlads really control the game outright.
Paul's pushing up his lane on Rumble as he should, and then gets a little bit of information. It costs him maybe one execution on that melee minion. He's still got experience for it though. Not a big deal. Plus, he'll let the wave push towards him. Now that he knows that there is an enemy Gragas on this quadrant of the map, and Svenskeren, as kind of expected, is trying to make it work up around this top side of the map.
Really interested to see as well how Balls performs here on Rumble. It's been not a while since he's had it, but not as often as before. And that was his wheelhouse champion. Svenskeren finding a little bit of love for Moon in the jungle. He doesn't have that red buff yet, so Svenskeren may be able to trickle away here.
Moon's going to keep up the chase, and Svenskeren flashes critically.
Over the wall, the flash. It's going to be Balls picking up the first blood.
And they actually use both solo laner flashes. Got to keep your eye on that. Balls does have bubble buff, double buffs.
Got to be careful. Hauntzer could keep in range, but they say don't worry about it. High also blew both of his summoners, and he doesn't want to lose too much towards mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, they got the first blood. That's definitely good for Flyquest in the collapse there, as I believe it was a body slam over from Svenskeren, and that's why he found himself in a lot of trouble. Let's take a look. Yeah, so Vision first, so he was being a little bit cautious. Just the timing here from Moon.
Oh, he gets to start the fight
very good
with the barrel going off.
Yeah. Anyways, as you can see, Svenskeren made the best, after he was found out, he made the best possible escape there, which was the flash to the blast cone, but it doesn't matter because Flyquest very quick to collapse there. And they do use a lot of summoners to do it, so let's see if Svenskeren goes on the offensive afterwards, because with that first blood and the Rumble for the top side, Balls will be feeling pretty good, even though did lose out on quite a bit of CS during that.
High pretty much expending the mana pool there as he gets pushed under his turret. Bjergsen still trying to deliver that damage as he has Crimson Rush up, staying very close the whole time for Harass.
Look at this Moon gank. He's right behind Bjergsen right now as well. Red buff.
a little too focused on getting that kill onto High with low mana. The Ignite goes down. Pool not in range for another Q. High is going to trickle down, but he will stay alive. Second kill going over to Moon.
High Moon once again gets right back out on the field. I was thinking maybe Svenskeren will be the first to action, but the Rengar, experience lead, red buff as well, and Moon is definitely set up for success now as well. The kill credit, High hasn't gotten any of the actual last hits for these kills on the Syndra, which he would definitely like, but they are going to good effect here, and we'll see what Moon can do with that from the jungle. Also, always got to keep in mind the passive from Rengar. Starting to stack up with all those unique kills that he does get. One on the jungler, one on mid so far.
No love for the bot lane from junglers just yet. 44 to 36 as this basically glitter lands into headshots that have kept TSM and their bot lane at bay here. Here comes Moon.
Is he? All right, they're waiting for the minion wave, and boop.
Exhaust goes down, actually kills him. And aggro is taken up top.
Exactly. Very good job by Elimination. You want one of the range champions to start taking it out first, because the range champions can very clearly stay on the edge of the turret, and Elimination just takes a couple of shots really easily. What you don't want to happen is your melee, your Rengar jumping in as he's going in. That's like the only way that you give over a kill in that situation. If the Rengar gets the turret aggro, and then maybe TSM is able to turn something around under the turret. Regardless, though, this is a massive snowball for Flyquest. They play off of the top lane, counter invade here, and then the Caitlyn, Lulu, constant pushing, constant pressure does take its toll here.
It'll be interesting to see if Monster can keep his bit of a lead up now as the lanes start to swap, throw them out of what could be an advantage there. Balls did get his kill early, but Monster can still come back into this game and be a problem.
Definitely true.
Altec just on the backside of Balls here. He may be able to make something happen if he comes through the brush.
Lulu here gets the roam as well. One of the biggest benefits of getting your turret down early, you can see the rotations from Flyquest. They send Altok and Lemonation up onto the top side. They want to keep their advantages rolling through here. Keep that high tempo. Caitlyn perma pushing here. Lulu will be up there for the assistance as well, and even though Haunter had a decent amount of CS, 1v2 probably shouldn't be able to make much happen.
Yep. They say keep things rolling. We heard kind of an interview from Aframu yesterday saying there's only a few people that continue to boggle your mind. They'll come back to lane and they try to do something immediately. High was one of those people, and so was Mata.
Exactly. I mean, people talk about shot calling all the time in a kind of an abstract way where it's hard to pin down, the actual strong qualities of, and there are big differences there. One of the biggest is the speed with which you can actually prep your next move or your next couple of moves so that you're already prepared. And the more prepared you are, the more work you do ahead of time, the less of the situations where we see teams end up in Baron and having to decide once they're already there whether they're pulling off or whether they're forcing it down or something. And talk always like High and stuff. Those are the guys that always have the next step planned out. Whether for better or worse is not always the same.
It's a lot of thought process. It's not like you get to walk back to lane, check Skype, talk on Discord, and then talk to your friends again. It's always about the game. It's the
Let me go online. I'll Google it, look up what's the next best step.
What should I buy?
Honestly, though, TSM prepping a topside move. You can see waiting in the wings is Svenskeren. Biofrost is playing very aggressively, though, and that's causing Flyquest, as they know this is their weak side up on the top side, they're just backing off, playing very cautiously, and they're able to get the objective cross-map.
Altec, Moon, and Balls now all picking up one kill. Nice little buddy system they have going on as they sort these out. Bjergsen, his first back was that Negatron cloak, so he's actually been able to stand against these orbs of High and just farm back and forth. Looks like Gragas, Svenskeren, I should say, taking over the blue as Bjergsen won't need it, and that may speed up his jungle a bit so he can get back to lane. High's been quite pushed up, and they may be able to work that.
Yeah, High trying to make the most of his blue buff here, just dumping spells into Bjergsen. Bjergsen was able to get his Negatron recall off previously, though, trying to chug his potions to keep up, and the extra magic resist is helping, but slowly wearing away. High continues to push him under the turret. Meanwhile, the Caitlyn Lulu doing exactly the same here.
Just Turtle, too, so he can't really get up too close to clear these. That means quite a bit of damage on the turret. That means more acceleration in this game for Flyquest if they can take down top as well without an answer.
Also, it gets to be a very scary situation for TSM, as Flyquest have had a long time with control of this quadrant of the map, and you can see that's why TSM are being so careful. Biofrost in particular, they're bringing multiple people with control wards for this blue quadrant because they know that Flyquest are trying to set up in the top triangle, this top lane, jungle, and mid portion of the map, and it's, despite all their best efforts, the turret's about to go down.
Forward. Altec did get solo gold on the last turret. Shares the gold this time with Lemon Nation and the rest of the team.
TSM
looks like they're good to go.
Pretty good planning of their own. As we said, you know, they're prepping this control wards and they were building their defense so they don't actually lose anyone. However, bottom side.
I think he wants to fight on that too much. Throws down the ultimatum.
Syndra's coming down the river as well. Balls just wants to survive at this point.
Picks up the E, throws it off. Hanser! Not able to get the last few hits in as the scrap shields continue to come up and Balls just kites around.
And people continue to wonder what is up with the TSM first game of a series, you know, win rate, because it's not very good, and there's a lot of ideas of where it comes from. They have just seemed like fairly slow starters this season, even though they rally very often to come back in a series. This is a giant lead for Flyquest here in game number 1 of the series, and after taking the top outer as well, rotate on the duo right down there to mid, last outer turret standing, they can easily send Balls back up top lane. That teleport is ready, by the way. So even if there is action that does break out, a lot of wards here around the mid lane, prepped and ready for them to react.
So much protection here for Altec. Having a very nice game, 115 to 88, as Turtle's lane was kind of chaos in the beginning with how much they pushed. Forced to go to the top side, still not able to see us there. So waiting on a bit of power from while Turtle will have Flyquest continue to pressure advantages here and probably grab this next Infernal Drake without too much trouble winning.
Yeah, they're grouping everybody up. They're actually not even going to wait for the teleport. Balls is just walking down on Rumble. Now, the decision here, you want to save your Rumble ultimate for the dragon fight. It's actually a while off, so there's an option of using it to push them off this turret, but you would definitely want to at least get a decent amount of damage done with it if they do, because that would be a possible opening for TSM to go try and go for a counter move. Currently, though, TSM just trying to play defense here.
Almost. Post, but no cigars. Well, various wards by TSM, 3 to guard a brush. Makes their Flyquest don't have enough time to knock them out. Stun into a slight heal. Another ultimatum onto Balls, and Gragas. Svenskeren coming up this time.
Yeah, nobody's here to help Balls this time. It is actually Svenskeren coming for Hanser, but he backs out, able to ult the wave and clear out the majority of it.
Nicely played.
High's roaming up now, too. I don't know about this dive.
I think they can turn this on Svenskeren.
Also has no flash, though.
Minion being closer now. Nice wait by TSM there to make sure the minion wave was in range. A turret shot along with unleashed power. Another kill possibly coming in onto Hanser. Looking to drop one more orb. Hanser with the dodges, but he can't do enough to get out of the way. Double kill for High for a bit of a roam to the top side.
Yeah, High's control over mid here. You know, constant roams. These are the playstyle that we previously had associated with him so much. Makes a play bottom, comes back up top side. Even though Balls goes down this time, worthy sacrifice for them.
It's funny too, we just mentioned before it was 1 kill across those 3 members. Now 3 kills for High in just a few minutes. 6-1 here with a 5,000 gold lead.
And honestly, this is one of the things that, one of the reasons why Flyquest, they were a bit sad with, you know, the losses that were piling through, to say the least. Nobody likes to lose. But
is true.
They also talked about maybe it was a little early in the season for them to start reaching for those surprise picks and maybe going a bit too far with the theory crafting. This team comp here and this game opening up the series is a lot more of that return to normalcy and kind of more expected picks. Here we go, though, is another look at it. High actually Flyquest, it looked like without that vision on Svenskeren, thought that TSM had given up on this dive, and that's why they actually had balls still there. High then cancels his recall, comes in. He does end up having to burn his flash to close that distance, but definitely worth it for them. Grabs another kill, and man, they are off to such a good lead. Inferno Drake is the perfect thing for snowballing ahead as well.
As we expected, uncontested. 15.5 in. Flyquest gathering up everything on the map. Now, outer turret is one of their pings here as they send 3 members mid. A little bit of love for the top lane, but I don't think Wild Turtle's gonna have too much fun here.
Honestly, even though that wasn't very flashy, I love when Rumbles will do that max range, use it to clear away when they know that's a dangerous situation. It doesn't go close to the area where they've lost vision, and Balls is not only able to clear the wave, survive, and get right back in there for wave number 2 as Flyquest. All 3 outers have been destroyed here, and Flyquest have all of their turrets remaining. Valprice is just toast. The casual kill on the support here as he's walking very close to a fairly fed Syndra, as you were just mentioning, Friv.
Yeah, that's High knowing exactly what he can do, and knowing the team doesn't have to fight for a period of time as well. Being in the lead, you can kind of just throw that out all willy-nilly.
It's one of the things we haven't really mentioned in quite a long time is, oh yeah, it's so scary to be a support when you're going transitioning around mid lane, right? Because there's a 5-level difference between Biofrost and High. And High had a really good position up there in the Fog of War. But you just have to be so cautious. Talking about Fog of War and being cautious. It looks like he's gonna get close to the too close.
Oh, not going to get out of the ultimatum. Wild Growth is on. Polymorph to the direct target that's going to do the most damage. Here comes Balls. Turns up the heat, and a kill for Altec and himself on the teleport in.
Oh my goodness. Flyquest, instant reaction. Here we go. Moon on the offensive.
Oh, Moon's getting angry. Turtle's been having trouble just getting farm, and now he's having trouble finding a place in a lane. Heal and exhaust use on the side for the bot lane of TSM there as Moon goes aggressive. Flyquest working off the ball. The aggression's in the top lane, and they're still getting stuff around the map.
So beautiful of an opening here for Flyquest. They've only given up 1 kill, no turrets yet. Bjergsen is split pushing on the bottom side, but Flyquest still have pressure. They can get another, tier 2 here. 5 members grouping up, yeah. Bjergsen's coming around back. Are TSM going to go for this 5-on-5 down this much gold?
It's going to be extended, and they'll have low health bars if they even try to contest this. They've only taken a few of the front-end damage bursts from Flyquest. They choose to go out of this one. And kind of a breathing moment here. 9-1. We'll see this top replay once again.
Instant reactions here.
Yeah.
Altec flashes over, able to get 2 Lemonation. At the same time, Balls immediately starts channeling his teleport, so he gets there in time to turn these 2 kills around. And that is a kick in the gut for TSM as the snowball is getting ridiculously big.
Yeah. Feels great. That replay for Altec having the Hurricane is such a good feeling. You have 2 members standing close together, tearing away at shots with your support behind you. The buddy system of Altec and Lemonation has been strong this season. Coming up only on 20 minutes. Altec goes back to the bot lane just to farm up a bit because everything's pushed up too far. It almost gets too dangerous for them to do anything else here so early in the game.
And they've done such a good job of playing cautiously, when needed thus far. Nobody from the bottom lane here from Flyquest has a death to their name. Actually, they've only given up 1 kill as a team total, so it's not saying a whole lot. Here we go, though.
Wonder how many he can scatter. It's going to be Svenskeren's down. Bjergsen actually Frodo in. He does live. A quick shield coming out there, and it's going to be Svenskeren, the ultimatum onto High. A quick shot from Curtain Call takes him down. And actually 2 kills coming in here from TSM. Bjergsen tries to troll pool out. Doesn't get the kill back with the Bola coming out.
Ultimate.
Where will he lay it down? Actually backwards instead of the escape route for TSM. Might have been a mistake. Is going to get the kill onto Vladimir. Balls, however, becomes a shutdown that Haunter might pick up. Zanya's down by Balls. Moon comes in, saves him from the top lane. And these 2 get out as Bash Brothers.
Woo! A lot of gold exchanging hands there. And 3 kills go over one direction. I believe it was 3 as well for the TSM side. I mean, even trades as far as gold are decent for them, but let's take a look at how this all started out, because it was definitely a bit chaotic, and this was Flyquest going for a play when they had teleport disadvantage, so that's why TSM are able to initially get a lot of momentum in this team fight. Haunts are barely able to flash out here, but then they return to the fight, not accounting for how long they've lost vision of the Rumble. And Balls eventually is able to get that blast cone over that wall, lays down his Rumble ultimate, flashes on over to continue this one fairly aggressively. Still very close margins. Turtle flashes forward to get that execute onto the Caitlyn. Whew, is right.
Who is right? A lot of quick calls there at the end to make sure it happens in their favor. An 8,000 gold lead now. Looks like they aren't stopping either. Back to lane. As we said before, they're going to keep putting something on the platter. Basically, take it right off. TSM gets none.
Yeah, very good showing from Flyquest. And even though it's so early in the game, 21 minutes, not surprised for them to go straight for the Baron. They have so much control. They're burning it down even this early, and
they've managed to make this a very scary situation before, though. This one, not so much.
Yeah, people kind of associate risky Baron calls with high, and they're like, oh, not again. Well, when you are, what, 9,000 gold ahead at 21 minutes, yeah, definitely more comfortable. And honestly, this is such a good, sort of redemption story here for Flyquest. People are calling for their heads, basically, after the decline from their first part of the season with all of the quote-unquote flavor picks, and people were attributing it to, oh yeah, Flyquest, they can only play these kind of
something
cheesy
going to
picks,
flex
right?
The champion select.
But very clearly, and Lemonation has stated many times himself even, you have to be able to play, the meta as well.
Right.
And Flyquest, they used the Caitlyn Lulu pushing.
Yeah.
They snowball that ahead. Plus, they were also handed a very nice, early jungle lead when the invade from Scarin went wrong.
I'd say this coming back as well.
Oh, TSM might be going for a flank though, Riv.
It's so close, Altec. Yeah, is able to get out. A quick shield from Lemonation to deny any follow-up damage. Do they have something coming from the side? Balls actually has no ult that he can put behind them, but Flamespreader can still grab a few people. Looks like Bjergsen's going to be the first one. Gets a good heal off from the teammate himself. And now it looks like they are just forced back here. Brute force by Flyquest, not even having to start a fight.
Yeah, they're able to kite back. Nobody really gets knocked in with that Gragas ultimate. Nobody gets snared up either, so Flyquest disengaged long enough and usher up these minions with their Baron buff. Inhibitor down for them, 23 minutes into the game.
Keeping on pace with last game. We just saw the Immortals Cloud9. Seems like everybody's got hot feet today. Moving in fast, playing aggressive, and pedal to the metal, as it's not even going to be a retreat here for Flyquest. Right onto the middle inhibitor turret. Once they get the minions, still have to deal with quite a bit of wave clear, which is impressive that they were able to get the top turret down. Back out, Cloud Drake, and make sure for safety, actually. Smart play by Flyquest.
Yeah, red buff, Cloud Drake. They get to take every resource off of the map at their leisure at this point in the game. Monster's actually chasing them down. Gonna make them work for it, it looks like.
All right, Lemonation ultimatum. Wild Growth is still, baby. That's gonna be Moon picking up a kill for himself with the red buff. One auto was enough to file it through. Crimson Rush gives Bjergsen a good amount of HP. Could keep him alive for the time necessary. Pulls out, he's safe. Oh, the shot goes through. Eagle Eye ace in the hole from Altec as he finds the mark. Moon continues to clean up as High also answers with one, while Turtle's left wondering, can I peek out of my shell yet?
Yeah, honestly, TSM decided to make them work for it. Flyquest, all right, we're ready to work. And that actually might be the end of the game. Man, this is definitely one of the earliest games that we've seen this split, as Flyquest are moving towards Nexus turrets already.
It's a 17-4. A few kills in lane.
Oh!
Decimated the objectives. Moon's gonna go down here in the end. Almost another kill coming across. His high is very, very low. 7 seconds on Bjergsen. The rest of the team coming through. And Flyquest continuing to put the finishing touches on here. But TSM do get another chance.
Yeah, that in the end it cost them a Nexus turret.
Yep.
Those don't afford you too much gold, but it always is a bit of a kicker. Let's see, he has a red buff, so the red buff that's on Hunter from Moon's last auto there is going to be the thing that burns him down. And they're just like, you know what? Okay, plenty of the members are here. We see Turtle. Turtle was just clearing a wave in the top lane. So they know that there's only these 3 members they have in vision and fully commit to this chase. Whoop.
So much follow-up, too. Having that ace in the hole to come through. Long-range stuns, the equalizer at length. Even if they do get away, TSM still dealing with quite a bit of damage on the retreat. Cloud Drake is picked up. Another Cloud Drake. Fancy. Could be going quite fast if they even make it to that point.
Cloud Drake, the fanciest of Drake.
That's the fanciest. Absolutely.
You can just glide across the ground. All right, well, let's see what TSM have in store, because they don't have a lot of options. So at this point, you have to assume they're going for bush plays. Flyquest do assume that, so they're moving up wards first. Rengar ultimate is on, and here they go!
Haunter TP comes through. He has Lemon Nation. Lemon staying near Altec. Quick polymorph onto Haunter! Nothing happens to the back lines. Bjergsen and Svenskeren now on the bot side are quickly focused and taken out. Turtles left, Turtles down. That's an ace for Flyquest.
Whew! And Flyquest don't even have to go through bottom lane. High with a casual sip of the coffee there. Let's just go in, finish off this Nexus. And holy moly, Flyquest start this one out with a banger. 26.5-minute victory for them.
Very nicely done, Flyquest. Take game 1 of the series over TSM.
Whew. A little bit reminiscent of the kind of beatdown that Immortals laid on TSM in that single game. And TSM definitely needs to regroup after that. They've been in this situation before, but yeah, Flyquest, all good things as far as the return to standard that I was talking about in conversation with those guys. Whew, making it look good.
It seems like TSM's composition, while on paper has a lot of great champions in Camille, Gragas, Vlad, Jhin, Nami, they didn't seem to be able to come together. 1, because they really couldn't find their own fights. 2, Flyquest started off so strong and never really gave them room to find their own fights.
Yeah, I mean, the first misstep when your jungler gets caught in an invade like that, and the first blood go over, you know, that is one thing, but it's not as big of a disaster as everyone's just like, remake now or something. It's so much credit to Flyquest here for actually steamrolling this ahead and playing a lot off the power of this pushing Caitlyn Lulu lane, which is just infamous now, pretty much in all regions. And we'll see what other combinations.
I'm wondering, that's what I was thinking during the game, is what Altec can go to next. You know him as an old Kog'Maw player as well when we used to see him playing. So if that Caitlyn does get banned out or taken, we haven't seen too many huge Kog'Maws, but it may be the start for some. We're going to go ahead and throw it over to the analysts to see what they make of that Flyquest win.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Flyquest coming back strong after a pretty large slide for the team here in the second half of the split. Getting game 1 victory here over TSM. That's a good start. But how do they do it, right? We see the Caitlyn pick come out with, along with the Lulu that Kobe was just talking about. But I think most interestingly, Flyquest was one of the teams we were saying might throw curveballs, as they have been doing all season long, and pick ban. And this is one of the more meta drafts that we've seen them pick up in a little while.
I'm actually glad to see it. We saw them try it last week against Immortals, and then they kind of got ran over in the early game. But that seems to be kind of an Immortals thing now, as we've seen them kind of do that to everybody. So they're back onto the more standard draft against TSM, not as aggressive as a team, and I think it worked out pretty well for them.
And I think this is a really unique game, because usually Moon has been pretty lackluster the last couple of games. And he was always the one with high, making very early game plays, getting leads by himself or with his mid laner. Now, this is the game where Sven just gave him the lead. They invaded, and it was just a bad timing, you know, gives away a free kill to them, and then he's able to snowball because the other team plays poorly. I'm still not convinced Moon's back on form, but he played pretty well.
Yeah, jury's still out on that one. I think it's safe to say let's see some more games before we make a decision on Moon. What were you going to throw in there?
Oh, I was going to throw in a little bit about the draft. I didn't really like TSM's draft at all. They take like the Vladimir in the end of the first rotation pretty early on, first draft phase, excuse me. And then they make them do double mid bans, and then they are not particularly effective. He still goes the Syndra, and then the Caitlyn pick is what really bugs me. Is like you see the Lulu, you see the Caitlyn still on the table. It's such a dominating bot lane. Just like force Lulu onto anything else. Just throw one ban at the Caitlyn, please, because they took the turret again at like 7 minutes. And it happened every game that we've seen Caitlyn. And
especially when you ban Karma in first rotation here from TSM, right? So you're already like looking to dismantle that powerful Caitlyn bot lane. Okay, but you still left up Lulu. if you're going to hand over the Lulu, take the Caitlyn away. Find another way to remove that pick from the table.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I actually think Jin Nami beats that lane 2v2 normally. However, they just didn't lane well.
I mean, sure. If that's the case, then because they got destroyed, they were like ignited under turret. It's like what gave Moon one of his free kills this game.
Right. I mean, yes, there is something to be said for how the lane gets affected as well by the rest of the map. Of course, we saw High making roams, and with those early kills being handed over to Flyquest at 2 points, 4K gold lead at 7 minutes with 3 kills in your pockets, does definitely make the individual lane matchups harder to, kind of identify and break down. Here's some of that early game play that we're talking about.
And this is one of those positions where usually Moon doesn't get a lead, but Sven just invaded at really poor timing and then ended up dying and giving not Syndra a free kill. And Syndra's not a Ball's a free kill, sorry, but not.
Also who you want to give a free kill to is a Rumble in the top lane.
In general, just felt like they were really disrespecting Moon a little bit this game. Like, this was not a super creative gank. Moon just walked behind the pushing Bjergsen and ganked him at level 5. Everyone's level 5, he gets a kill. And then it was almost the same thing in the bot lane. We're like, oh, we're super low under turret. We haven't recalled yet. And then he cuts them off from behind to stop that. And they get another basically free kill almost. And
I mean, this is what you're talking about, Scar. That was clearly set up by 2v2 trades in the bot lane that brought Nami down to that low of health. So in that 2v2, Flyquest coming out on top, finishing off the kill there with the Rengar visitation.
Right, but like I said before, like it doesn't seem to me like that one side of a 2v2. You think about the most dominant laning champion, which is Karma. But afterwards, Nami and Lulu are pretty similar. In fact, I would say Nami might be even slightly better in lane, specifically in lane, not out of lane.
The only problem I see with it is like, how do you match the push? Like maybe you can win trades, but if Caitlyn queues the wave and Lulu queues the wave, how do you keep up with the push?
But I think it's okay going into it a little bit.
Okay, I mean, I like this conversation. Let's see if we can find more ways to talk about it as we watch the meta develop, because I'm sure this is not the first or not the last time we're going to see that particular matchup. What I want to talk about is that stat that we just saw on your screens there while we were looking at TSM gearing up for Game 2. In Game 1, Game 1's across the split, they are now 7 wins, 8 losses. So that's, I mean, we've talked about this plenty. TSM this season has gone to third games many a time. Game 2, their record improves slightly. 8 wins, 6 losses. Game 3's, though, guess what their record is? Do you know?
I have no idea.
8-0?
9-0.
9-0.
9-0 in Game 3s, right? So, I'll be curious to see if the trend continues here up against Flyquest. Hey, we lose the Game 1. How much do we really learn? How much do we adjust our playstyle around the team that we're facing? And will they make the proper adjustments to take the next 2 games in a row?
Hey, but what's great is they're getting so much practice on stage. They're getting more practice than almost any other team.
There you
not,
go.
Not on purpose, hopefully, but just because.
I mean, I guess this just shows that Flyquest needs to win this next game because there's no hope apparently going to Game 3.
That's a very good point. All right, how does Flyquest close it out here? But on the blue side for Game 2, what do they do to make sure that they can seal the deal?
The Caitlyn's really important. So, off the bat, like, I know Turtle's not a great laner, and you saw the stats before. Altek's averaging -8 CS at 10 minutes or something like that. He was up 30. Something insane this game.
Yeah,
so
he's up 33 at 20
think
minutes.
Securing the Caitlyn is the key to this game for them, at least through bot side, and they can play around that. If they have a lane like that to set up Moon, even if Moon's not super far ahead, he still gets that kill for free.
And I think they just need to play a little bit more respectful to Moon in the sense, like, I don't know why they were making such aggressive plays where, like, Sven's just, like, super deep in the jungle without, like, great lane priority. And then the same thing with Bjergsen not respecting the potential gank mid.
Last thing to touch on here is High, receiving player of the game for the Syndra performance in the mid lane. But more so what I want to talk about with him is how we feel he is going to be able to adapt to the changing meta in the mid lane, right? At the beginning of the split, he's playing the Corkis and whatnot. Now we're looking at, okay, solid game on Syndra with the Orianna and Talon bans thrown at him, but with the prevalence of Vladimir and the likes, do we feel like this is kind of a niche, something that High can slide into with relative ease?
I think it's okay. Like, I don't think Vlad's super hard, and all you need to do with Vlad is, for the most part, know how to lane the champ, and then like find the ability to team fight, like get the flanks, get the like decisive like flashes in. I think High is really good at doing that. I think one of the biggest things is just like he roamed really well the first game. The double kill he got on top lane is just like a signature bait, and I think that if he does more of those and plays champions that do have a lot of CC, bring a lot of damage, I think Syndra's a champ that shouldn't have fallen to the wayside. That everyone stopped playing Syndra, but you should still be playing that champ. That champ is so easy to execute. If you get a lead, the other team doesn't exist when you ult.
I think it's a big thing too is that High is like not the lane dominant Syndra. He's the get out of the lane and make stuff happen Syndra. And TSM gave him those opportunities with that invade by Svenskar, and then that top dive, like you said, like if Hai doesn't get out of lane and he's just stuck farming and maybe getting like a 10 CS lead versus a Vladimir, that's not great for the way that Flyquest tries to play the game.
All right, well, we're moving on to game 2, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll see if Flyquest can close out the series. Their game 2 against TSM is after the break.
Keep chasing, keep chasing.
I can ulti soon, I can ulti soon.
I have a stun for the
Bled,
stand.
Bled.
Gragas, go, 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 go. He's dead.
End game, end game, end game, end game, end game.
Go mid, go mid, go mid, go mid, go mid. Yeah,
Ooh,
push,
nice.
push.
Ooh, clean.